big week ahead. A lot of preparation to do. Need a good week of practice. As you guys, I think, know, the schedule is a little bit different. So today will be a normal Wednesday. Tomorrow will be a normal Thursday. Friday will be a walkthrough and meetings, much like it was in the first week of the season. And then Saturday will be like a Friday. Sunday will be like a Saturday. So if you can get all that down. So first and second down day for us today. A lot of work to do against a really good football team. Division opponent at home. We're going to need our best week here.
You look forward, every game is a big game, but you know, you got the Cowboys on national TV Monday night. Does that kind of add to the excitement?
Well, playing on Monday night is always special. But the things that help you win a game on Sunday at 1 o'clock are the things that help you win a game on Monday, and I think that's where our focus needs to be. There's plenty of things that we needed to correct from week 2, from week 1. You know, not just, you're always evaluating where you're at as a team, whether it's after a loss, after a win. You're doing research on scheduling, making adjustments. You never want to come out and say, well, we weren't prepared in that regard. We're working hard to keep improving as an organization all the way around. We look forward to playing on Monday night and trying to build off on some of the things we did well and improve on the things that we haven't done well.
Brian, you were not here for Andrew Thomas's first 2 years. You inherited him in his third year. What did you see from him when you first got him? When you looked at his film, and did you work on him maybe in Buffalo? In some way. How has he progressed in the short time you've been here?
Yeah, well, he's a good player. He's very talented. But I think playing offensive line in the National Football League is tough, particularly playing tackle. You're going against some dominant edge rushers usually. The speed of the game is quicker, even though he played in the SEC at the highest level. So I'd say that experience helps. You're going to go through some growing pains. I'm certain that he did. We all do. And I think that his mindset is just he's a very consistent, dependable person, and that kind of translates to the field.
Do you that part about him?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want 53 like him, or maybe you do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that good for an offensive tackle? That kind of.
I think it's most important that he's just himself. There's some guys that are very consistent. There's some guys that are extremely high energy, like Hadi, and that's okay. I think as long as they're true to themselves and buy into what we're doing, compete, consistency, dependability, and he's done that since I've been here. And I think that he's a good leader too, Paul, in the room. I think he's opening up his personnel a little bit. He's not dancing as much as Hadi out at practice, but he's been true to himself, which has helped our offensive football. It's helped our entire team. I think that's why he was elected captain too.
Brian, in the spring, I think you encouraged Daniel to let it rip with the quote you used. Through
Yeah.
2 games, how do you evaluate where he is in doing that?
Yeah, like I said after the game, I think he's made really good decisions. There's always plays that we could be better at, but his decision-making process, where he's gone with the football, he's made the right decision. I'd say a lot, and that helps. I mean, the job of a quarterback, it's not I've been part of teams where we were 35 of 40 for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, and I've been part of teams where we're 17 of 21 or whatever it is. For his job is to help the offense move the football, whatever that is. It starts with decision making at quarterback. He touches the ball on every play, and he's done a good job of that. We're going to continue to build that, but I'm pleased with where he's at.
Brian Saquon's been pretty impressive through the first 2 weeks, but how important is it for the offense to find another legitimate, like a real legitimate game changer outside of Saquon and his performance the first 2 weeks? Does it help finding that player? Because obviously he's going to demand a lot of attention.
Yeah, and look, he's an exceptional player, I would say, in this league, and we have confidence in all the guys that are here. That's why they're here. Sometimes there's power in numbers too. Split things up, make it a competition. Maybe there's 30 reps apiece for a bunch of guys, and just try to have defenses defend the whole field. Play good complementary football on the offensive side of it. Do what you're supposed to be where you're supposed to be, and then again, goes back to your question with Daniel, make the right decision. So I think all our guys are working hard. I have confidence in the guys that we have, and we'll need to have a good week here.
Daniel, what have you learned about Daniel? I know, like, it's one thing for you to go through the spring and even the preseason with him, but when the game, I'm sure, is a little different. Like, what have you learned about him from that experience so far?
He's much like Andrew. He's very steady, and I'm a fairly emotional guy, and it's a good mix, because I can get pretty high strung at times, and he's very, very consistent. I think he responds to a variety of different coaching techniques, if you will, but he sees things, when we sit there and we talk, we have good communication on silent. That's, not something that I've had a lot of experience with him, so I'm learning that as we go. Here's why I did this, or I might say, hey, what'd you see here? Well, this guy was dropping underneath. It was really zoned. They disguised it as man, so I didn't even worry about this other back. Whatever it may be, he's a good communicator in that regard, and he's got a little spunk to him too. I know everybody doesn't see it, but he has that as well.
Brian,
Brian, talk about the different ways he responds to coaching. What does he respond to well?
Really, there hasn't been much that I haven't done with him that he hasn't responded to. I think that's the mark of a good pro. You're always trying to learn your players, and we've had, I've gotten on them, I've loved them up. What a teacher is supposed to do is teach them, hey, this is what you did. First of all, tell me why you do it, because it's a tough position to play. Everybody can see it from the outside, but unless you're standing back there in the pocket, which I'm not either, you see a lot of different things. They happen fast. And let's talk about what you saw. Here's what I saw. Let's make a correction. I'd say that's, usually the way it works. And if there's just a really poor decision, then maybe that's not as much what you see versus what I saw.
Ryan, were you worried at the start of the season, you're relying on a lot of young players, about this team's depth, and have you been surprised, and how important is that in this league to be deep, and because guys are going to start dropping?
Yeah, well, again, the guys that we keep, they are the ones that earn it. So everybody's got to play at some point, and we've all coached guys that are rookies or first-year players, and as long as they're out here competing, doing their job, then you feel comfortable putting them in the game. A lot like we talked about with Paul, with Andrew, there's certain things you have to learn, and the only way to learn is to play. And it may not be great the first week or the second week, but you're trying to continually build your roster, build the depth of your roster, improve the confidence of the young players, get the young players reps, and you're not just going to throw them out there just to say, hey, I threw a rookie out here. They have to earn that role. But I do think that playing helps, and then when you put them out there, if they've earned it, I think that builds their confidence too.
Have some of them surprised you?
I wouldn't say surprised. I'd just say we had a good group. I go back to Joe, to our process of really evaluating the players throughout the draft process, with starting with the scouts and then the coaching meetings and all the combine meetings and the extra meetings we had, the Zooms. We tried to select the right player, but also the right person with high character that has that tough, smart, dependable mentality, and usually can work with those kind of guys that have good talent, but also have those other intangibles that are important to us as an organization.
What have you observed about Micah Parsons?
He's a problem. He's a dynamic football player. He can play multiple spots. He does. You'll see him at linebacker. You'll see him at defensive end. He has rare pass rush ability. We're going to have a good plan for him. He's fun to watch when you're not getting ready to play him. I'll give him that compliment. I mean, he just does things that are pretty impressive on the football field.
Do they move him all over on each side?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him play in a variety of spots. He plays in the stack behind a loaded up box. He'll play on one. We have to obviously know where he's at, but our tackles are going to have to do a good job too. You can't chip them or you can't do it on every single play. And I think that's the beauty where they move them around. I think Coach Quinn does a great job with his scheme, and he's a dynamic player.
Brian, do you expect it's 4 guys on defense? Kayvon, Leonard, Aziz, and Aaron Robinson. Do you expect those guys to play on Monday?
I would say, what am I going to say?
Day to day.
Day to day. We'll see. We'll see. I think they're. You know, I'll just start with Tibbs and Z's. You know, they're getting close. They're going to take some team reps today. So I think they took a little bit last week, but they're going to take more this week. They're getting close. So we'll see with them. I'd say they're still day to day, even though they're on the close side. Leo's rehabbing. Again, I'm not. Leo's a quick healer. I mean, he tells me he's a quick healer. So I'm not going to put it past Leo to be ready to go. Would it shock me either way? No, but he'll stay in. He'll get treatment today during practice. So you guys know, I think that's the best thing for him. And then A-Rob, I think, is really a wild card, Pat. Again, he's getting better. He's walking around, but I'd say I won't know that. Probably won't any of us know until the end of the week.
What about Wandale?
Oh, Wandale, getting better, close. For this week, I'm not sure.
Brian, with this offense, does it make a difference in your own mind who has the most catches? I mean, you just want to see the ball move around to different people?
Yeah, I just want to try to score. So it could be 12 catches, 5 catches, no catches. I think everybody just has to do their job so that, offensive plays is really, I know we always say execution. It really is execution. There's design spots, different blocks. Defensively, if you make a mistake, you're out of gap, you can fall back and maybe make a play. Really to have an offense be consistent, which we're working on, we all have to be on the same page from the start all the way through the finish. And that's usually when they work the best.
I know you don't like
take a couple more.
You're going to ask, though.
Yeah, I know.
I like how you start that.
I know you're not like talking about Buffalo, but when you talk about your offense there, I mean, you really did. It seemed like it went to another level when you guys added Diggs, who was like that true, like, real number one out there. I mean, so does the scheme elevate even more?
I wouldn't just say with Buffalo, but anytime you have, I mean, I'd say he's a special player, just like I'll cut it back to Dallas now, his brother. His brother's a special player. I've known his brother since I was at Alabama. They're both very talented players, and again, we're on our first year. We're working at details. We're working on doing things. It's not going to be right every time, but the guys are putting in a lot of work. They have been. I'm very confident in what they've been doing, their preparation, our process, and it's a week by week. We just try to keep getting a little bit better each week.
Dave's, within the last week, you talked a lot about the emotion of the stadium for home games.
Yeah.
How much more does emotion play into a rivalry game on prime time? They got the whiteout plan for the Dallas game and stuff. Is there an extra part of that kind of pushes things along?
Well, I would just say again, the fan support's been great. It was awesome last week. Looking forward to it this week. I think the most important thing is trying to do our job and play well. And you can definitely feed off of the energy that they're providing when we make a good play or we make a good stop. I mean, it was hard to hear out there for Carolina, I know. And that's like, you say the 12th man, that's like a 12th man. It's hard to operate offensive football when it's that loud. So obviously everybody gets juiced up a little bit after good plays. I think the crowd really was great, and we'll do our best to help them be great again by playing well.